When brand new Pokemon booster boxes look like this, can anyone seriously enjoy this hobby? Though while the English market is going through its worst period in history in terms of product availability, it seems Japanese Pokemon cards are silently being enjoyed by a variety of collectors as like a natural transition is taking place right before our eyes. And with English Pokemon products seemingly being impossible to find at reasonable prices, a lot of collectors and investors are viewing what the Japanese market has to offer. Though Japanese Pokemon cards are getting quite high in prices as well and proving to be super solid investments, which I'm going to be actually unpacking throughout this video. Though I mean, really, we actually need to get serious because brand new English booster boxes are selling for more than double retail price right at the get-go. And you know, there's so many reasons for why this is happening. Though if you don't know why that is, it's because we have a hype period in Pokemon currently happening, along with the amount of people buying multiple products at once. Like, I mean, how you have to think about it, right? Back in the day, you'd have the average person probably buy one to rip open and then one to keep sealed. And then maybe you'd have your hardcore collector who would buy a case to open and then they would hold a case as well. Though right now, the script has been flipped entirely. Now people buy cases and cases of Pokemon products and literally hoard them, and it's putting a lot of pressure on the Pokemon market because there's really no downside for scalpers to load up on products right now. And the scalpers know this. And the only way for this to change is for scalpers to not be able to immediately profit off booster boxes because there's literally no downside. There is virtually no risk if people can purchase Pokemon booster boxes at retail price right now. Because as of right now, if you can get Prismatic Evolutions, Surging Sparks, or Journey together at retail price, you don't really have any risk. It's just a pure winning situation. And while this ridiculous momentum lasts, it's going to be a really difficult beast to defeat because even if Pokemon prints more products right now, it seems it's getting eaten up by scalpers. It's like seagulls flocking to food. If there's more product, it just gets eaten up by this endless void. So because of this, a lot of people have actually gotten fed up and said, well, you know, I still love collecting Pokemon cards, I still love ripping packs, but right now I kind of don't feel like paying double retail price for a booster box. So maybe I'm gonna try my luck with other alternatives, and just as luck would have it, Japanese Pokemon cards have become the answer for a lot of people. Now, honestly, if you do actually want to open some Pokemon products at reasonable prices, it's pretty true. Japanese booster boxes are literally a great way to do so. Crimson Haze can be found at great rates. Night Wanderer, Stellar Miracle, Cyber Judge, Super Electric Breaker, and even the newer Battle Partner set can be found at very reasonable prices. And also, don't forget, the quality control is so good, so a lot of people are moving over and also just adding Japanese Pokemon cards to their collections. Like, the quality control really is something else. If you look at Japanese cards versus English Pokemon cards, the comparisons are seriously staggering. I mean, if we take any random card like this Iron Crown Special Illustration Rare, right? Right now, as of making this video, the Iron Crown from Temporal Forces currently has had 3,788 copies sent into PSA, and out of those 3,788 copies, only 2,172 copies have come back as a PSA 10, which is actually really good for modern Pokemon cards. That's like well above the average because like Charizard from 151 has like a 32% chance to get a PSA 10, and the Magikarp and Drowsy both have around a 20% chance to get a PSA 10, whereas if we look at the Iron Crown Special Art Rare from Cyber Judge, right now the Special Art Rare has had 1,973 copies sent into PSA, and do you know how many of these copies have come back as a PSA 10? An unbelievable 1,836 copies have returned as a PSA 10, meaning the Iron Crown Special Art Rare has a whopping 93% chance to be returned as a PSA 10. The difference is literally mind-boggling. Also, I just want to say, if you have been enjoying the video, a lot of hours of research goes into creating this content, so please feel free to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with Pokemon collecting and investing content. And you know, a lot of people make excuses for why some English cards don't have the same PSA 10 chances. You know, we all make these excuses, myself included. We say stuff like, oh, maybe the artwork shows surface issues, or maybe it's because of certain conditions. But, you know, as I research more into this, I think it just becomes abundantly clear what the real issue is. Pokemon products for the English TCG and their quality control is just atrocious. atrocious. Like seriously, if you want to have some fun, just go pick your favorite special illustration rare and then find the equivalent special art rare in a Japanese set and go see the difference in chances to get a PSA 10. I don't even think there's one example where English cards would have better quality control. Though, you know, as I'm saying this, the Japanese Pokemon market really has been getting more eyes on it because of this, and a lot of people are saying, well, I'm going to try Japanese Pokemon cards right now because, you know, the English market is so challenging, and I actually think there's a lot of Japanese sets which are wildly undervalued. I mean, seriously, check some of these out right now. So check this out, as I was saying, Battle Partners, which is one of the newer Japanese sets that's released. Obviously, we have Heatwave Arena, we're going to have Glory of Team Rocket. There's some real cool sets coming out. But you can see Battle Partners straight from the get-go, man. This was selling right away for 114 US, and you can see it had a bit of a sharp decline to 85 US, and right now selling for around $82. Now, Battle Partners is interesting, right? Though I'm actually super excited to announce that I've teamed up with Bai, and we are giving away this Battle Partners booster box to a channel viewer, and it's available worldwide. You can find the details on how to enter the giveaway within the description of this video. So today's video is actually sponsored by Bai. Now, Bai is one of the best resources if you're looking to buy Japanese products, especially for Pokemon cards or items that are difficult to find outside of Japan. Now, sometimes you'll notice that certain Japanese websites don't ship to your region, and that's actually where Bai comes in. Bai acts as a proxy shopping service, and what's so great about Bai is that they will actually buy the items on your behalf. If you do make a purchase, then the items actually get shipped to Bai's warehouse, and then Bai ships the items directly to your country, which actually opens the doors up to a whole world of exclusive Japanese products. So, you know, when you're on Bai, you can just search for something like Pokemon cards, and this will open you up to a world of Japanese exclusive shopping, which includes J Direct Items Auction, Mercari Japan, Amazon Japan, and many others. Now, the best part is if you actually do find something you love, all viewers do get a 10% discount on their first orders. Feel free to use the discount and enter the giveaway. All the details are within the description of this video. Now, Battle Partners is a pretty cool set, okay? It has an amazing roster of cards. You know, the Lillies Clefairy is really, really desired. And what's really interesting about the Japanese market right now, it's kind of behaving like the English market was before the boom. And as I take you through this video, you're gonna actually see that a lot of Japanese Pokemon products are still rising in value, but what's so unique about them is you can actually still get them at retail price, and they're still gonna rise in value over time, like what you're about to see here. But the great part is you can actually buy in at a normal rate. Problem with the English market right now, as we can all see, is that if you're gonna buy Journey together, if you're gonna buy any of these other sets, it's super, super expensive to get some skin in the game. But with Japanese Pokemon products like Battle Partners, it actually becomes a lot easier. I mean, even moving forward, we can see the PSA 10 Umbreon from Terastal Festival. You can see on eBay's last sold, this is selling for a pretty reasonable amount for a top chase card, right? I'm not saying it's cheap, but I'm saying it's reasonable in comparison to what the English card is selling for, right? You can see right here, this one's just sold for 500 US. You can see this one got 25 bids for 510 USD. You know, same thing, 27 bids, 500 USD. Now, I'm not saying that's cheap, but I am saying considering, you know, if you do open Japanese Pokemon cards, you can see the quality control is outstanding. Like I just showed you previously in the video with Iron Crown, the difference between getting PSA 10s for Japanese Pokemon cards versus English is so big. But then again, that's why English Pokemon cards now do have such a high premium for PSA 10 cards, which is kind of unfair because you kind of do think like, you know, I think Japanese Pokemon cards do it correctly, right? Because if you do open a card that is pack fresh and you send it directly to PSA 10, you really should be getting a PSA 10 90 to 95% of the time, in my opinion. I mean, they are pack fresh, right? You know, with the English market, you know, like Magikarp, that's a 20% chance to get a PSA 10. And in my opinion, you know, pack fresh really should be around that 85% to 90% range. I mean, I don't even think that's that unreasonable. You know, Japanese cards do get those chances. The English market cannot compete. Same thing when we look at the Cyber Judge booster box, right? Now, TCG Player cannot actually go back because they only recently added Japanese Pokemon cards to TCG Player. And I do feel this is actually going to help the market a lot because TCG Player is one of the best ways to track the market. And I do feel with more people tracking the market, more people are going to get involved in Japanese Pokemon TCG, because when it can be tracked, you do get those people that really love investing in collectibles. But you can see with Cyber Judge as well. In October, this was selling for around 29 USD per booster box, around 35 USD. And you can see this has actually had some growth. It's now sitting at around 49 to 50 USD. Hasn't had massive growth, but then again, you can see the sealed products are rising. But you know, 50 bucks for a booster box, that's a pretty good rate, considering if you do pull an awesome special art rare, you do know as well that it's very likely it will be a PSA 10. I mean, sometimes when I pull English Chase cards, I get excited, then I go, you know, this is very likely it's not going to be a PSA 10. I mean, if you did watch my PSA submission video, you can see so many cards didn't get PSA 10. And a lot of people were like, Phil, why'd you send them in? Why this? Well, the reality is I just sent them in because I was enjoying the process and I didn't really think of anything because I just pulled them pack fresh. But you can actually see, you know, that's a really great example. A lot of the cards sent in with that PSA submission video were pulled on my channel. And you can see the videos on my channel pulling those cards. When I sent them to PSA, the results weren't that impressive. And that's what I mean. The Japanese Charmander I pulled got PSA 10. Not many of the other English cards got those results. Same thing here when we look at Terastal Festival, right? You can see Terastal Festival, you know, in December selling for 81 USD, you know, found a little bit of a high point at 119 and right now selling for 110. But you can see Japanese Pokemon cards definitely are rising in value. So, you know, people that love investing in collectibles, they're getting pretty excited now as well because it's like, well, at least I can get it for reasonable amounts, right? When I look at Journey Together, that's not reasonable amounts. It's too heavy to get in Journey Together at the moment. Whereas then with Battle Partners, to me, that's like a no-brainer. Same thing as well. You can see the Lillies Clefairy as well, kind of having a normal market movement for a chase card, right? Because Lillies Clefairy released at 418 USD and now it's kind of gone down to around 298, which is actually very normal, right? Usually when chase cards are released, the pre-sales are usually the highest amount that happens and then it slowly tapers off. So this to me just looks like a standard chase card and how it usually performs. Then again, things are different right now. It's really becoming an interesting time to be involved in the hobby. Same thing when we look at the Magikarp Art Rare from Triple B. This one's actually had some really interesting price movement. We pull this into the 6-month graph. You can see this was selling for around 37 USD. It's kind of gone up to 75 USD and now kind of gone down. You know, far more affordable than the Paldea Evolved Illustration Rare. And you know what? When you do get the Japanese Pokemon products as well, they still look great. Yes, the characters are different, but you know, a lot of people also make the argument that they're more authentic because of that, because you know, Pokemon is a Japanese franchise. Now, the Japanese market is actually very different to the English market. So you need to ensure to research your card prices as the prices can vary heaps, right? For example, the difference between the Magikarp Art Rare versus the Magikarp Illustration Rare in price is quite significant, so it's always good to know your cards. But you know, if you do have specific questions for Japanese related cards, you can actually post your questions within my channel's Discord server. There's actually a specific section related to the Japanese Pokemon TCG, and you can get the community's opinion on certain cards and also find out about upcoming releases. The server invite is in the description of this video. Same thing when we're looking at the Sylveon from Terastal Festival. This is really interesting, right? You can see the Terastal Festival Sylveon, you know, sold for around 93 USD, currently selling for around $137, which is still really expensive, but then again, we can say that it is somewhat achievable, okay? When we look at the Sylveon from Prismatic Evolutions, you can see it has been going down in price, kind of fell down to a $517 and right now selling for $461. But you know, the difference between $137 to $461 is huge, man. That's like nearly triple the price, right? Now moving on again, we can see the Roaring Moon from Prismatic Evolutions kind of went down to 172 US and you can now see selling for $274. Amazing artwork, Shinji Kanda artwork, really cool. Probably one of the cooler artworks from Prismatic Evolution, super unique, really desired. When we look at the Terastal Festival Roaring Moon, you can see the price is a bit more attainable. You know, we're sitting around that 24 USD, found a bit of a high at 37 and currently selling for around $34, which I do think is a great price for such an amazing card. Same thing when we look at Crimson Haze, right? You can see Crimson Haze, you know, we're selling for around 42 USD in December, currently selling for 61. Like I said, you can still see the Japanese market does have the price increases. Don't think when you buy these booster boxes as well that they're dead weight. They're not paperweight, man. They do go up, especially with more people kind of experimenting right now. People are really broadening their horizons. They're just getting experimental. Just because Pokemon cards are hard to get doesn't mean people still love buying these sets. I mean, I mentioned it before, right? But a lot of people are spilling into other TCGs right now. It's too hard to buy Journey Together. It's too hard to buy Surging Sparks. I can't find Paldea Evolved at any kind of reasonable amounts. Well, guess what? Other TCGs are now flourishing. Look at Dragon Ball Masters. I mean, the latest History of Z booster box, that's going for absurd prices right now. Why? Because a lot of people from Pokemon Pokemon can't get their hands on Pokemon products, so they're moving on to Dragon Ball, they're moving on to One Piece, they're moving on to Yu-Gi-Oh, they're moving on to Lorcana. The transition is currently happening right now. Same thing when we look at the Greninja from Crimson Haze. You know, this was selling for around $132 in December, currently selling for 170 USD. You know, still a really, really nice card. It's an awesome Japanese chase card, really great quality, but then again, you know, it still is getting good prices. We can also see the Japanese Triple Beat booster box where the Magikarp is one of the chase cards in it. You know, that's also rising in value, selling for 45 USD in December, currently selling for 79 USD. Really good price growth, really healthy price growth, really interesting time for the Japanese Pokemon TCG market right now, and I am interested to see what the end game for this is going to be, because, you know, a lot of people are transitioning, and I talk about that a lot. Right now, Pokemon cards are hard to find, so what are people doing? People still love ripping packs, people still love collecting. Don't ever forget that. It's not just because something's expensive, people stop. What do? They trickle to other things. That's more affordable, that's within my budget, I'm going to purchase that. Now, as much as these card prices are interesting, there's actually a lot of questions to which Pokemon cards are best to purchase right now, and which cards have potential. Now, the exact cards that I'm speaking about can actually be seen within this video on screen right here. Within this video, I go over the top 10 best Pokemon products at the moment and look over what's currently happening within the English market. If you love Pokemon collecting and investing content, then this video that's appearing on screen right now is perfect for you. Click the video on screen and I'll see you there.